So how do we bring these bitters back into our lives?
Yeah. The most common form that people see are the tinctures that you can get at the health food stores, and they're fine, right? You can utilize them with a certain degree of benefit, but the problem with those is a couplefold. Number one, they really activate the bitter receptors in the mouth only. You're not getting a whole lot going through the rest of the digestive tract, right? And I mentioned that the stomach, the small bowel, the large bowel, your pancreas, your liver, and your immune cells in the gut all have bitter receptors on them. So you want to be able to activate bitter receptors throughout all of that. You're really not getting that out of the tinctures. The tinctures also have alcohol in them, typically. So for some people, that's an issue. And then it's inconvenient to travel with, right? You're not going to carry a liquid bottle of tinctures with you to a restaurant. Yeah. And so for us, we said, okay, let's get a really complex set of bitters, about 12 different bitters, because they all do slightly different things. And let's put it in a formula at clinically relevant doses in a capsule. So we created this Digestive Bitters product that is very comprehensive, that activates all different forms of bitter receptors.
Wow.
And it's in a capsule so that it actually dissolves in the proximal part of the small intestine, and some in the stomach as well. So then you're getting bitter receptor binding in the stomach, small bowel, large bowel, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, and immune cells.
Wow. So you don't actually need to taste them for them to do their job.
You don't need to taste them. The ones in the mouth are very, very much responsible for activating the salivary response and to ward off anything that may be a toxin. But we don't have that issue anymore, right? And so you can also activate the salivary response through the cephalic component, which is the smelling of the food and all that. So my recommendation to people is, okay, step one, let's improve our meal hygiene, right? If we can, we should sit down and have a small ritual before we eat, right? I would start with deep diaphragmatic breathing so that we can activate the vagus nerve and try to activate the parasympathetic system. And it sounds kind of hokey and it sounds like new age stuff, right? But it's so important to put our system in the right rest and digest mode, right? So sit down with the food, appreciate the look and the smell of the food, assuming you're eating something healthy and something that looks beautiful, right? That triggers that cephalic response. So you get the salivation and you start getting some hydrochloric acid release, and your body starts shifting towards the parasympathetic, right? That is really important for meal hygiene, and give yourself time to sit and eat. And then you use the digestive bitters about 10 minutes or so before you're actually taking the first bites of food, right? So imagine you sit down, you take 2 capsules of the digestive bitters, and then you spend the next 7 to 10 minutes kind of doing some deep breathing and really kind of trying to bring your activated mind down, right? Getting your body ready for digestion. Then you start eating. So now the bitters have gone in. They're starting to do their work of releasing all the digestive secretions and all that, getting the bowels ready, getting the immune system ready, telling the liver, hey, food's coming through. Let's get the bile acids going. Telling the pancreas, food's coming through. Let's start activating pancreatic enzymes. And then telling the brain that, hey, we're eating, brain. And food's going to be moving into the stomach and then the small intestine and so on, right? And then all of these peptide receptors like GLP-1 and all that are starting to get activated and expressed. And so now you're prepared and you're ready to eat. And then you start eating and you eat slowly. You chew your food well. You don't suck in too much gas while you're eating. And you try not to, be too active and running around. Like sit down and appreciate it, right? That alone will alleviate so many digestive issues that people face. That 40% of the global population that has Rome criteria for digestive disorders, a huge percentage of that will go away just from having this type of meal ritual, right? And I know it's not always practical, but some component of it. And if nothing else, at least take the digestive bitters.
Wow. No, I'm so excited to try them, actually, because it makes perfect sense and it checks out with all the, everything that I've come across in my own research. Where would you stack these in the context of, a lot of people have seen HCl, betaine HCl on the market, as well as digestive enzymes themselves.
Yep, ox bile sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, how do you kind of triage the approach, given all the options there are on the market?
The way I would look at it is I would do the digestive bitters as the preparation for food. So if you can, 10 to 15 minutes before you take your first bites. I would use digestive enzymes, betaine HCl, and ox bile if people use them. If they have gallbladder or liver issues, they may be using supplemental bile. I would use those with the first bites of food. So you do the bitters beforehand. Then you try to get the cephalic response going. You try to calm the nerves, get yourself back into parasympathetic. And then with the first bites of food, I would use those other digestive aids. And then that's when I would also use the probiotics, because you want the spores going in with the food as well, right? And then after the meal, one of the best things you can do is movement, right? Go for about, and this is, ideally it's about 15 to 30 minutes after you eat, you want movement. What I did, for example, last night, I had kind of a heavy meal in my hotel room. I didn't have time to go out for a walk, so about 15 to 20 minutes after I ate, I just did wall sits. In the hotel room. I did wall sits, push-ups, wall sits, push-ups, for about 15 minutes, and that dramatically reduces that postprandial insulin and glucose response, right? And activates the metabolic system in the right way. AMPK goes up, your body goes, okay, let's pull in glucose and let's start burning fat. Let's store glycogen, right? It's making your muscles want to store glycogen because you're burning glycogen from the muscles. So all of these really healthy things that occur. And really, at the end of the day, that's what our ancestors all did naturally, right? And our system has evolved to require that process, and we do none of it, right? None of it. We eat fast. We eat big meals. We don't have any digestive bitters. We don't have any meal hygiene. Typically, after a large meal, we're just sitting down, we're at our desk or our office, and we're not moving. So everything is disrupted. No wonder the majority of people have digestive issues.
Yeah, no, you're right. And regarding what you were describing exercise-wise, I mean, there's like really good clinical data on exercise snacks.
Yep.
That's what they're actually called in the literature. People could check them out. Just like a brief bit of exercise pre or post meal can do wonders for blood sugar homeostasis, insulin, and the like.
Hey, if you liked that video, you need to check out this one here, and I'll see you there.